This question is a classic make versus buy decision. This company that you can see here currently internally makes this part for some component of their assembly, and they're making 5,000 units. So if the total cost for 100,000 was $100,000 for 5,000 units, that averages out to a cost of $20 per part. So initially, if an outside company offers to sell us that part for $18 per unit, it sounds attractive, but what we really need to do is look at what costs here could be avoided if we do not make the part ourselves. So let's dig a little bit deeper. What do we have here? So we can assume that direct labor is a variable cost, right? And direct materials is clearly variable. So you know that if we buy the part from an outside supplier, we will not need to buy materials. Because the question says that direct labor is a variable cost, we know that we can avoid the direct labor. Since manufacturing overhead here is labeled as variable, that is avoidable. And then it says that we will be able to save 1/3 of the fixed cost. So some of this is avoidable. $15,000 worth is avoidable. So what we want to do is say, what could we save if we make the part ourselves? Well, we know that we could save direct materials, which is $15,000. We know that we could save direct labor, which is $30,000. We know that we could save the variable overhead, which is $10,000. And then finally 1/3 of the fixed overhead, which is $15,000. Add these up, there's 45, 55, that's $70,000. Okay, that's what we could avoid if we if we choose not to make it ourselves. Now, if we buy it from the outside supplier, it's simply going to be 5,000 parts multiplied by 18,000 per part, and the math on that multiplication is $90,000. So what you can see here is there's actually a financial advantage to continuing to make the part ourselves, because the difference here is $20,000. So if we buy it from the outside supplier, we would spend $90,000. But if we do that, we could only save $70,000 of internal costs. And that's because some of these fixed manufacturing overhead costs would presumably still be incurred by the company as a whole and just sprinkled or allocated over other components or other divisions of the company. Now, of course, one big cost that we did not talk about here is opportunity cost. And that is the case where it normally does not, stare you right in the face. But since we have a $20,000 advantage, we might also want to look at what impact opportunity costs could have on this problem. But the answer is there's a $20,000 financial advantage to keep making it in-house.